Have you ever been to a Dr. Joe Dispenza event and really enjoyed the heightened experience that you felt while you were there, and then when you leave, you feel like something's missing? And it'd be so cool if there was something that you could utilize to help continue that heightened experience into your everyday life. Well, I have the founder of CoHere Now meditation app, Tenzin, and we are excited to share what he's been working on for the last 6 months. Welcome back to Salty 7, and boy are we excited to have Tenzin with us. We're here in Nashville, just finished up a great week-long retreat, and as the universe would have it, we connected up. I've been really wanting to get with you on your app you're creating and kind of talk about your spiritual journey. And you know, one of the things I'm learning is just surrender, let go, and it seems to just all come together in a beautiful way, and so this is today. So just so excited to have you on. And would you like to share a little bit about your app, kind of give our audience what it's about? And I'm kind of new to this thing too, so we'll be learning together. But
For sure. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, I guess the app, the purpose of it is to kind of help people within the community sustain their meditation practice, stay connected with the community, and just kind of more easily access their meditations and implement the practice. Because it's incredible, like it's changed my life, it's changed so many people's lives, but I think that there could be I guess my business partner, Jada, and I realized that there just could be like an easier way to access your meditations and cue them and stay connected with the community rather than, you know, having all of these Telegram channels and group chats and things like that. And, you know, going to an event, actually the main kind of where it started is like, there's such magic that's created at an event.
I know.
And
you want to keep that magic alive.
We want to keep that magic alive. Like we were like, how do we help people sustain this feeling, this, you know, these states of being that they cultivate at an event? How do we help people? How do we do it, and how do we help other people sustain that throughout their everyday life? And we thought, you know, staying connected to the community, consistently meditating, because there were times where like I would, you know, miss a few days or miss a week or whatever. I was like, how do I really like stay consistent with this long enough to the point where I get good enough to where I would never miss, because my life's just changed from it. So that's kind of like the purpose of it. There's a few different you know, features that you're able to use, that like cueing the meditation so that you don't have to take off your blindfold and change between one and the other, and you know, cultivating a clear vision of the future. You can create a digital vision board and be able to review your visions before your meditations, view your visions as like a sort of like a slideshow type movie thing, in a really seamless, easy way without having to download it and stuff.
So on that note, are you going to have a way to do the kaleidoscope? Because that's part of what we've heard in the past, is you have the kaleidoscope and then you jump into your vision board and then you go back to the kaleidoscope, and you're supposed to do that several times. Is that going to be part of that? Or
Yeah, that's a great question. We definitely want to implement that. We haven't done that yet. There's so many ideas, like really cool ones like that we want to implement, but we also want to keep it simple enough in the beginning so that it's not overwhelming people. So we're going to roll out different features like that one for sure.
As it moves along, different versions. So we were remiss. What are you calling the app? Do you have a name for it yet?
Yeah, right now it's called CoHere Now, but we're going to shorten it probably to CoHere.
Okay.
And it's not official. We're still open to other names, but I think it'll be CoHere. Because the whole idea between CoHere and Now, you know, like coherence now, present moment, coherence.
And it sounds like you're going to have an element of community in this, where the community can give you feedback and you'll incorporate that into, I guess you'd say, extended versions of it or updates?
100%. Yeah, we're super open to like feedback from the community. We made it like effortless for the community to reach out to us and communicate with us, give us feedback, report issues, because we really want to just make it extremely valuable. I think we created a really incredible user experience that's super easy and for anyone to use, but we're always open to making improvements. So within the app, people can really easily reach out to us and express any feedback
that is so cool. Now, we heard about this through kind of a grassroots movement. Where is the app in process? Is it do you have a beta test going on?
Yeah, so we will be soon. Right now we've been developing, well, I've been developing it for the past like 6 months, and I think about like 2 or 3 months ago, we've had the team grow a little bit. For a long time, it was just me kind of developing it. And so right now we're at the stage where we're just finishing up the final steps of the development process so that we can release the pilot version to this early access community and then we'll kind of slowly, incrementally grow it from there. So we're at the stage where we're actually launching a second crowdfunding campaign so that we can sustain the operating expenses and as well as my salary, because I've been doing this full time. I've just been, I had an Airbnb in the past that I was kind of living. That was bringing in enough income, but the lease just ended. So we want to do another crowdfunding campaign to be able to sustain it over the next, 3 months or to 6 months for the research period.
Now, do you have that information ready for now, or do you want me to post it later in the links? Is it a GoFundMe page? Or?
It is. It's actually the same. It's the same GoFundMe.
So I was going to ask about the financing of it. You kind of you hit that, so it's going to be crowdfunded, which is awesome. And then, do you have a date for when that pilot is going to go out? And you said it was a small community. Is that open to any new people that may want to be a part of that?
Yeah, 100%. So it's open to anybody. We haven't really promoted it, but we've put out the website, and we've had I think we were going to cap it at 200, but I think right now we have 250 people pre-registered. So it's open to anyone to register on the website to be a part of that early access community. And then from there, we'll allow people to, once it's launched, people won't be able to register anymore, just because we want to manage the growth and we don't want it to scale too quickly. So we'll slowly implement allowing people to share it with their friends so that people can really cultivate the community that they want and bring the people, invite friends. So that's kind of how we'll allow it to kind of steadily grow.
So no firm date yet on when that release is?
No, there's no firm date.
Leaving it out to the universe to decide, right?
Exactly, yeah. I learned that the hard way by setting 3 release dates and getting super frustrated that I wasn't able to meet it by then. So yeah, it'll be soon. I can't say exactly when.
So how cool is this to have an idea and then the process, moving it along? I'm sure there's been some struggles, maybe a little bit of frustration.
For sure.
So share with our audience what that's like.
The process, the struggles that I've gone through.
Yeah.
Well, it's been incredible, learning journey. I found Dr. Joe Dispenza's work out of a shoulder dysfunction that I had called thoracic outlet syndrome, which I didn't know what it was for the longest time, but it caused pain and discoloration in my arm. My vein or my arm used to be completely purple, and the veins were kind of bulging out and I didn't know why for the longest time. And
show the camera now. I mean, it looks normal.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
That's awesome. Now, how long ago was that?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
It was before my first event, so it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Isn't it funny how you kind of start forgetting because you have this new life? It's so cool. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, I don't even remember when it was. But so I had this kind of, I don't want to call it an injury. It was this dysfunction in my shoulder, and I didn't know what it was for the longest time. I went to a bunch of different doctors, alternative medicine, for 2 years. I was trying to figure out what was going on. And a friend of mine who's a physical therapist, I told her about what was going on, and she out of nowhere was like, it might be thoracic outlet syndrome, because she had just studied it in school. And so I went to the doctor. She was like, you should go to the doctor, because if your arm is purple, that means you probably have blood clots, and it could, if that gets moving, it could go to your heart or go to your brain, and you could die. So you should go to the emergency room now. And so I did. I went to the emergency room, and it turned out I did have blood clots. I did have thoracic outlet syndrome, and it was at a point where I was really just didn't have a lot of meaning in life. I was kind of had gone through a lot of stuff, and I thought since a really young age that I just wanted to make a lot of money, because I grew up kind of poor, and I knew that I associated all of the struggles that we went through to being poor. And so I just wanted to make a lot of money, but I did that, and I was still miserable. And so I went into this even deeper depression because I just found no meaning in life. And so that was when things pivoted, is when I found out about that could be life-threatening. And I decided to go to a Dr. Joe Dispenza event, and I figured that my mental and emotional state was the thing that caused it. The muscles in my body to tense up and always be so tight. That's what's happening is the collarbone and the first rib are being compressed together in thoracic outlet syndrome. And it was the doctor said it was a gene or something like that. I was like, no, it's not a gene. It was my muscles tightening up from being stressed out all the time, from being overly in fight or flight, is what I thought it was. So I just thought, I just have to learn how to relax. I have to learn how to get out of fight or flight.
Yeah.
And I did. And so, yeah, when I found this work, I mean, it changed my life, and I wanted easier ways to access the meditations and do all of these things and stay accountable. And I knew that I heard other people have the same thing. So the process of developing it was, it's funny, you were just talking about like you can't really know what, or you were saying that the universe was kind of like nudging you in a direction.
Yeah.
That's how I felt as well, because I'm not a very techie person. I'm not like into tech or anything, but I was just really excited about what the impact that this will make, and at first I just really wanted to use it myself. And so I think I'm getting off topic from
the door
question.
opened. You know, at the event here, we were talking. Dr. Joe was talking about. I just opened the door, right?
Yeah.
And you have to walk through, and so a door opened for you,
Right.
and you walked through, and it opened up a whole new journey of learning, and also fulfillment.
Right.
I want to ask. I love this question, and you hear so many different stories of how this question is answered.
Right.
You said you had a situation in your life, and it basically initiated you into the spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And your chosen path was through a Dr. Joe event. How did that initial knowledge of Dr. Joe come to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. A friend of mine recommended his book when I was like 19 or 20.
Okay.
Yeah, because him and I lived together. We were roommates, and we were both into personal development.
Yeah.
I'd gotten into personal development at like 16 because I met this group of college kids who were like into network marketing. And so I became interested in personal development. I started reading Tony Robbins and all of those kinds of books. And he recommended becoming supernatural. I was into it because I've always been interested in meditation and spirituality. And so I read the book. I did some of his meditations, and I remember doing the meditations and like being like, dang, there's something definitely to this.
Yeah.
But at that point I didn't like do it consistently enough to really get the value of it. But that's how I was introduced to it, a friend of mine.
For me, it was basically a YouTube video, and I
Yeah.
had never heard of Dr. Joe ever in my life, and I was at a very dark place, and I was searching through YouTube for self-help and different topics, and one of his videos popped up, and it was just like, whoa, mind blown, go down that rabbit hole, you know?
Yeah.
And my life has been forever changed. I can hear it in your voice, and what you've told me already, your life has been forever changed, and
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. I've seen you at several events, just didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
You know, and so this was our 6th retreat. How many for you so far?
I think like 7 or 8.
Nice.
I don't know. Yeah. something like
Nice.
that.
And the question people ask us, I want to see what your answer is to it. Why do you keep coming back?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, every event is different and transformational in some other way, and I think that there's a process of overcoming that I'm still going through. Like, I think maybe someday we overcome enough that we're just, enlightened or whatever, but I'm not there yet, and so
Yeah.
I love coming to the events to continue to grow and also to serve. I've been volunteering at the past, however many I've been to. I just love being with the community. I love being with the other volunteers, and it's just the kind of people I want to be around that I've always wanted to be around that I didn't know existed. And so
That's
definitely
my
the
answer.
community.
You
Yeah.
can't find this kind of community and love anywhere else. It's
For sure.
very unique.
Yeah.
And maybe someday I'll have to change my answer because everything has grown and the love is spread, and
Yeah.
that's a beautiful part of the story. I know Dr. Joe wants that. He talks about that. And so that's part of what we do, try to spread the love, I'm excited to tell you I'm going to be a volunteer for the first time in Denver
Awesome.
week long. So
That's
I'm really
amazing.
looking forward to that next step in my journey, and a little anxious because I've heard, it's a lot of work and you get tired, and it'll probably challenge me a little bit, heart-brain coherence, but we can't grow without challenge, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. We talked about your release date, so and some of the ideas around the app. It's going to be free when you release it.
It's going to be free to the early access community, yeah. But
Okay.
we are looking at some way of monetizing it. We want it to be free and accessible to everyone, but it's just not sustainable, and we have
Yeah.
other projects. We want to continue to innovate it and make it better, and we have like a really big long-term vision for it. In order to do that, I think we need capital, and in order to we need to monetize it. And so we'll figure out how the best way to do that. Maybe have like a free version and upgraded features or premium features for a subscription price and something like that. But there'll always be like a free version of it, I think.
That makes sense. I mean, you have an overhead cost, right?
Right.
To your lean structure of the backside management, the upgrades, and your time and investment in it. And
Yeah.
so I want to go a little more in depth. You kind of hit the highlights of what the app is, the purpose of the app.
Right.
You talked about the queuing function, and I have found that tremendously. We had to do that on the backside, on our side, to basically get the playlist set up to where I could do what I call meditation stacking.
Yeah.
You've heard of nutritional stacking, right? And the synergistic effects. So I kind of coined this term. Someone else has already, sorry. But I call it meditation stacking.
Yeah.
And I have a purpose. I've set up probably 5 or 6 right now where if I want to work on setting new intentions or something, I'll put like heart-brain coherence first, and then maybe another getting into the blackness, and then after that do the intentions, and
Right.
and I've done other things for like opening your heart, setting up some meditation stacks for that, and I feel like it has a synergistic effect. Now some people, as you become more advanced meditating, you may not need that, but for me in my place where I'm at in my spiritual journey, I thought that was really helpful. And so like you mentioned, you're going to have this queuing function, because that was my problem.
Yeah.
As soon as it was done, I'd have to peek my mask open and and swipe
Right.
through, and so that has an effect. You're right. It takes you kind of out of that spot, as they say.
Right.
So that's really cool. And you mentioned having an easy access location for the meditations. Now, is this going to be any meditation? Like there's the Aura app, and there's some other meditation apps. Are you going to look at those third parties to bring them in, or is it going to be specifically Dr. Joe meditations? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it'll be any meditations. How you're able to access them now is you just simply upload them. So right now you purchase meditations from anywhere, and then you're able to upload them to the app very easily from your files, Dropbox or Google Drive. Because I noticed that's where a lot of people access their meditations now, is their files or Dropbox or Google Drive. And there's a lot of things that come with that just aren't ideal. It's just not like the ideal place to access audio files and meditations. So you're able to upload them there, and then you're able to easily change the names and organize them into folders and have like a home for them, so that you're not just like going through your files or Dropbox to find them. It's just like a home for them, kind of.
Now, something that I had in my mind, and I don't know if it's just a misunderstanding of the app or if this is really an intention or not, but I think you believe, like I believe, that there is a effect that you can have when one or more persons are meditating at the same time.
For sure.
And set the intention to connect, right? As
Yeah.
they say, connect in the quantum. And we've seen that effect in person in these large ballrooms. Energy goes up, just when people walk in the room.
Yeah.
And so that's a really cool effect of having a community meditating at the same time. And we've seen evidence that you can do that remotely, everyone tapping in for the same intention. And so my thought was the app would benefit in that regard, where people could connect up. How is that truly the case, and how will that function?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that there's so much, like one of the most powerful things about the events is that there is like a group of people all collectively kind of sharing a similar vision and tuning into a similar vision. And I think there's great power behind that. And if we're able to organize and do that, I think people do already. People have group chats where they all get together and meditate at certain times. But so it's not like we're creating anything that's new. We're just making it easier for people to do what they're already doing. And so, yes, we will incorporate something like that where people are able to organize like collective meditations, where they're all able to tune into one potential, or just all able to do it together. We do want to make that easier, and so that's something we will be rolling out. It's not part of the current version of it. But
My mind is kind of going off on a tangent right now, and I'm kind of visualizing something like a global Earth, that you could, on the app, you press a button and it shows like this entire planet,
Yeah.
and you can like swivel it around, and you got stars like, or like little flags pop up, like this
Right.
person's meditating on setting new intentions or something, or this one's tuning into abundance, and like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to join him or her, and be
Right.
like, I want to zoom over here to Australia today, or I'm going to go over to Switzerland today, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might be really far-fetched, but it just sounds so cool to be able to do that.
For sure.
And it's a lot easier than, say, I'm a part of this Telegram, group, or I'm a part of this whatever media platform that ties me together with these people. It's all centralized. And I don't know what kind of privacy issues would be around that. And,
Right.
and maybe it's just a simple toggle switch on the app that you could select. I want to be private, or I want to let my
Right.
location be known. And so I'm really sure there's a lot of issues that you have to navigate around that. Do you have any assistance right now helping you with those legalities? Have you worked through any of that to date?
As far as that feature, we don't have that where you're able to view it. We want to implement something like that too, where you're able to see, like, connect with people in the community in person. So if like you're in Dallas and you don't live in Dallas, but you want to see people in the community, if you want to connect with people in the community who are in Dallas, you might have like a map, kind of like Snapchat.
Yeah.
Where you're able to, like, snap maps it, where you're able to see people in the community. And it would just be exactly what you said. You just say, like, I want to be private. And then we wouldn't share any personal information. So you could connect with someone and you'd like kind of reach out. And then if they accepted it, then you could see like their name and you guys could message each other or whatever, something like that. But yeah, there is a lot of legal things that, and security and privacy things that we do have to be aware of. And we've thought through it a lot, and I think that we've covered most of it. There'll be things that come up, of course, that we'll have to comb through. But
what an amazing journey, though. I mean, you said you're not
Yeah.
very tech savvy, but now you probably are more than a lot of people because of the last 6 months and what you've learned and
Right.
the people that you've met along this part of your journey.
right,
It's pretty cool.
yeah, it's wild. I never thought I would every time I say, because I used to like kind of be against tech, I'm like, like it was kind of nerdy and like I just like didn't really like technology. And I was like, I'd never be in that. And every time I realized that every time I say like I'd never do something, like life is kind of like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And gives me like an opportunity that is incredible. So yeah, I've learned so much, and I think what sets me apart from being able to do this at in the way that I think is really good is that I'm not that tech savvy. And I think that makes me want to make it so simple that anyone can use it. And I know what makes it simple because I know what's complicated, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does. You're coming from a different vantage point, right? And
Yeah.
the end user experience.
Right.
Yeah. So cool. So anything new that you're working on that you'd like to share, or along your spiritual journey, or any other projects?
Any other projects? This is like the main project that I'm focused on. I really, really just want to get this released, and then there's a few other projects that I've been putting on hold because I don't want my attention scattered in too many directions.
Remember, where you put your attention is where you put your energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I find myself scatterbrained often, and that's something along my spiritual journey that I've found beneficial, is being able to really be present
Right.
and not everywhere,
for sure.
That's pretty cool. And so cool to hear about your story. I mean, I would have never known, I mean, you're healed, dude.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
When did what happen?
You're healing for your
Well, it was
arm.
progressive. It was a slow process. It was a slow onset of when it happened too. Like it gradually came on, and then it gradually got better the more I just relaxed and got out of fight or flight. And then it would come and go, and it still does. Like sometimes I still feel pain in my shoulder, and I'm not worried about it. Like I used to get so frustrated when I'd feel it. I just wanted it to go away. But now I understand that I'm healing and it's a process. I'm not worried about how long it takes. I feel amazing emotionally and mentally, and I know that was a major contributor to it. And so I'm not worried when I feel a little bit of pain in my shoulder. It was slow, but it was perfect. It taught me to be patient.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, as always, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, and I look forward to some follow-ups, as we move along. And I know people are going to be really excited to see this, and I'm sure you've received that feedback too.
Yeah.
Well, as always, thank you for watching. We love you guys, and we have our email if you'd like to reach out to us as dispenzachats@gmail.com. And we have the GoFundMe site to help send more people to Dispenza events, which is gofundme.com/salty7. And just want to say love you, brother. Thank
Love
you
you too, man.
for all you do.
Thanks for
Give me
having
a
me
big hug. All right, brother.